Okay, a fun day of troubleshooting as well as recording. Maybe don't have as much progress today as I was hoping to have because I did spend some time figuring out how Logic worked and solving some problems. But I'll play the little bit of a guitar solo action we now have in our new breakdown section here. I'll play it from the section before. Tell me what you think. Pretty cool little bit there. I think it sounds nice. It's not quite sitting in the mix the way I want it to, and I don't know what I'm missing yet. It sounds to me like it's too full in like the mid-tones, and so I've been trying my best to really pull it out, but it just goes from being like too much in the mid-tones to wow, this is incredibly thin, like really fast, like just like there's no sweet spot, it seems, that I've found just yet. So maybe that makes me think I'm missing something else here, and I've slowly been compressing it more and more. This sample you see here is a bounce of this. This was the original audio recording. It's still hilarious to me how quiet this comes in, but I had a guitar rig running on top of it with some noise reduction and a screamer and a jump and a cabinet, and then a little. I was even pulling out some of the bass at the amp level here in Guitar Rig, and then QRS with this arena. I love the arena settings, but I pulled the reverb time down. This actually creates a really interesting kind of spot where it's very. It sounds very big, but the tails aren't super long, so it doesn't get too washy. I really like that setting there. And then again, pulling this out, this was we have multiple times of like slowly just carving out the bottom end of this. Some pretty substantial compression here, 5-1, kicking in at -14. Zero attack and 19 milliseconds of release. We got the soft distortion for a little bit of like saturation on top of everything here. So it's doing a lot of work you can kind of watch if I soloed this. Please don't do whatever you just did up there. If I solo this and unmute this here, you can see pretty quickly how much work this compressor is doing. Like really evening it all out. And there was even a few spots where I was surprised. I didn't know why this one spot over here that T there was just so sharp that even with the compressor didn't look like it was hitting it extra hard. It was hitting pretty hard there, and it's still really popping through. And so then I put this extra 3 decibels of reduction just with the gain plug-in there, and that helped a lot. But even then, in the actual final file we have here, I feel like it still kind of pops out. The notes is really pronounced. I think it's especially because we're on a 4-chord. The majority of frequencies we have are going to be the 4th scale degree, tonic, the 6th scale degree, maybe some of the 2nd scale degree. There's a lot of that going on. There's not a lot of 7th scale degree, which is what that note is. So it's really kind of in a spot frequentially where it's not getting competed with at all. So I think that's part of why I think I just have to keep pulling it back so it doesn't stick out. But so yeah, you see there was so much compression going on there, and then we still have even more compression going on over here. This one's even maybe it's a less aggressive ratio, but only slightly, and it's at 10 decibels. This is obviously all contingent upon the threshold only matters with where the level of the sample is, right? So this isn't more aggressive just because it's set at -10 since it's on a separate channel and a separate bounce here. But doing pretty much almost instantaneous release on this one. And I don't know, just trying to really even that sound out, get it to where like it looks a little bit more of a brick instead of being these like really big peaks and valleys here. So slowly getting better at that, and do love that we tracked this. The thing I kept talking about with troubleshooting earlier, though, man, I was having this issue where when I came to record in this, if I just was listening to the guitar, it sounded fine. And then it sounded good. And then the moment I went to record, there was this massive. The reason the sample delay is on here is I was trying to tell how long is the delay. There was this input latency of about 132 milliseconds, where when I would play, it was 132 milliseconds. I would hear it, and it was just enough to like really jam you and make it impossible for you to play in the part and like listen to it and like hear it kind of like basically approximate what it's going to be like in the actual piece. I would have had to just like mute the track and play it off of like, I know the notes go here and this should come out right, which would have just sounded so much worse. I tried a few things, the most interesting of which I was talking to some producer friends, and I moved everything. You see everything here is set to go to bus 10. There's some things that are set to like go to like bus 1 and stuff like that, but those are all things that are in some sort of folder. So this is like sum 6. These are going to bus 6. This is side chain. The bus side chain is bus 1. So all these things that are saying they're going to bus 1, this is the side chain. If I collapse down all of our summing stacks here, you see everything is set to bus 10. Bus 10 is the master mix. This is what has all of my plugins for kind of the master out, the little tiny touch of OTT we have. This is just an oscilloscope, so this one doesn't really matter. But the saturation, this Pro Q4, the compressor, the limiter, the compressor. These are all now going into this channel, and this one channel is going to our stereo out, which just has some diagnostic plugins in it. And the reason I did this was so I could easily come in here and just highlight all of these like this, and then I can go in and tell it, hey, I want you to now go to the stereo output. And what that does is in an instant bypasses the entire master chain, which I was like, maybe that's creating latency, or I thought it was maybe creating latency. That's why I turned them all off, but it didn't make a difference. And then a friend was like, hey, that they could still be creating latency even just on the channel, even if they're kind of like in bypass mode. So try putting them on a channel that you can bypass the channel and there's no sound going through, and then that should fix it. And it didn't make a difference. So I was like, oh, that's so annoying. What is going on here? And I was checking the latency, like the input output buffer on the channel, just going to here, this guy, the buffer size. I was like, oh, it'll reduce this, but I'm like, 12 milliseconds of latency. This is not what I'm hearing, right? And that was when I went and checked it with that sample delay. I was like, yeah, no, it's way longer than 12 milliseconds. This is not what I'm hearing at all. I can definitely play through 12 milliseconds of delay. And eventually found on the general tab this guy, low latency monitoring mode. With this checked on, that made all the difference on the recording. All of a sudden I could record, and it wasn't creating any problems, and it was fine. So if you are somebody who's running into that problem of like when you go to record something, it sounds like it's on a delay, just make sure that button's checked, and it should help. It should be one of those things should solve your problem. So solving that issue and then getting this tracked was a big thing. I wanted to record more vocals, but it is late, and I'm excited to go to bed and get some sleep after a long holiday life. So yeah, the track's plugging along here well. Love where it's sitting sound-wise. Excited to build the next section, and those are the days I'm most excited to close out the project, is when I'm excited about what comes next tomorrow. Not, oh goodness, I have no idea what's going on, and tomorrow I got to record another video. What am I going to do? You know. So that's all we have time for today. Excited to see you guys again tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Bye bye.